Streaming worldwide today, the latest release from CBN Films. It's called Oracles of God, and it tells the story of the writing and the preservation of the Old Testament.
What's this?
Hey, Floyd!
What is it?
Well, joining us now is the writer, director, and creator of this wonderful film, Oracles of God, our four-time Emmy nominee, Erin Zimmerman. And Erin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, start us off. The movie begins and ends with the Dead Sea Scrolls. So you actually shot in the caves where they were discovered. How did you do that?
Well, not in the caves. We shot around them. The great thing about shooting in 2021 was there were no tourists allowed in Israel anywhere, which is, I think, hasn't happened since the Middle Ages, since the Black Death. So we had, the whole land of Israel was our studio, basically. We got access that we never would have gotten. The National Park Service and the park at Qumran, they just gave us free rein. They let us fill one of their 2,000-year-old mikvot, the Jewish ritual baths, with water and put our actors in it. And we did all the exteriors in and around the caves. We scouted caves all over Israel, and we really wanted to shoot in a real one. There were ones with not a lot of ventilation, and then we learned about the bat problem. So we didn't want to deal with that.
Isn't there a bug problem, too?
Yeah, then the final straw was the flesh-eating mites that apparently lie dormant in these caves and come alive when something living comes into the caves. And that's a problem we didn't need. So my line producer said, come on, I'll build you a cave in the studio. And I said, I don't know. I don't want it to look fake. And she said, trust me. Her team had done one for an FX show called Dig. I don't know if you've heard of it. Yeah. I'd never seen it, but she said they were amazing. They can do this. And so that was our solution, and it worked.
So you survived flesh-eating mites for this film?
No, no, no. We didn't. We chose not to survive that. There were other things to survive.
Okay. You shot for In Our Hands, you shot on Ammunition Hill, a recreation of that battle. And on this one, you shot another battle, the recreation of a slaughter that happened in AD 70. Tell us about that.
That's Scott's little joke. I don't watch war movies or slaughter movies, and yet I seem to direct them. This we also did at Qumran. We really wanted to pound in the idea of what these Jewish scribes gave to stay and copy these scrolls and to hide them in the caves. They knew the Romans were coming. They could have left, and they didn't. They put as many of these scrolls and hid them in the caves as they could, and they stayed till the last minute, and they were slaughtered. And Josephus has a really great line that I loved about them. They cheerfully gave up their souls, knowing that they would get them back again, which is, I think, a profound statement for Judaism. They don't have the same concept of heaven as we do, so I thought that was an amazing statement. But they also let us shoot all that at Qumran, but we had to go through a process. We shot in the village, which you're familiar with, and because it's ruins, of course, it doesn't have a roof, but we had some places where the walls were high enough so we could sort of fake that it was a room or a wall. And they didn't want us, quite rightly, they didn't want us to get the fake blood in the dirt. No. Leave that, because that would freak out the tourists later on. So we had to put layers and layers of tarp, and then we had to bring a truck and dump in more dirt over that. And so then we could kill the people and have the blood and all of that.
Well, that's a behind the scenes I didn't know about.
Yeah, we couldn't leave our mark there, so to speak.
So no blood left behind?
No. I'm not going to say whether we did or did not leave any at Ammunition Hill.
You did, I think.
That's a story for another day, yes. On the stones.
I saw fake blood being spilled
on
in
the
that one.
stones. That was
All right.
It adds to the experience, the visitor experience.
One of the things that struck me about the shoot at Qumran was just the absolute level of accuracy as they're writing the Bible and the effort that a scribe would go through. And just tell us about that. Well, what did they mean by focus?
Well, this is very interesting because we talked to a scribe that's alive today, and I used to do a little bit of calligraphy every now and then, and I would always tell the people, if I'm doing a calligraphy job, get me 20 extra envelopes because I will mess up. And so I said to this calligrapher and to the scribe, how do you not mess up? Because they couldn't have more than 3 mistakes on any scroll, and you had to be able to fix those mistakes, and if you couldn't, you had to bury the scroll and start over. I said, how did you do it? And he said, for me, when I'm sitting here writing this, and say I'm writing the letter Aleph, which is the Hebrew word for sort of an A, he said, that is the only thing on my mind. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do later. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to eat, who I'm going to see. I am thinking about an Aleph, and that is my purpose in life right now, is to write that Aleph. And I believe he's taking that from history, from these same scribes for thousands of years, had that kind of focus. And the name of God was very sacred to them. Now, for us, we'll say it's sacred to us too, but, you know, in an emergency, sometimes we'll let fly, oh my, you know, whatever. These people took the name of God so seriously that when they were writing, they left spaces for his name, blank spaces. And then when it was time to write his name, the scribe would go out, wash in the mikvot, completely immerse himself in water, come back up, put on a new garment, get a new pen, and he would have to stand in front of his scroll and he would say, announce to the room, I'm now writing the name of God. And then he would have to say every character as he's writing it, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. They couldn't say it, but they could spell it. And that is the great care and excellence with which they treated the name of God.
And that's the great care and excellence that you've brought to the movie. When I watched it, there were things that I thought I knew the Bible. I thought I knew but there are things that you brought out that I had no idea. And just that care and that concern. And then the thing that just is so impressive is just how cinematic it looks. How did you bring that to the screen?
I hired really good people to bring that to the screen. This is the same team that shot and produced In Our Hands. And I've been working with them. That was our first production with them. I've been working with them for 7 years now, and we've traveled everywhere, to Jordan, to Egypt. So we're hooked into each other's heads now, especially, well, you know Haim, our cinematographer, and he takes my shot list and he internalizes it and he makes it better. For instance, I said in the script, okay, we need to kill this scribe. And he said, well, why don't we do it this way? And I'm not going to give it away, but why don't we do it in a way that ties it to the beginning scenes? So he adds everything I do, he'll make it a little bit better, you know? So we have a really great synergy. I cannot take credit for any of that. I have great lighting, camera, special effects. They're all the top of their game.
All right. Well, they are top of the game. I can highly recommend this film. It will teach you things about the Bible, how we got the Bible, how the Bible was treasured by the scribes for centuries so that you and I can read it. And then the same Bible we have, the same Old Testament we have today, exact same Old Testament that Jesus had and he read from the synagogue. You can learn all of this through the oracles of God, the story of the Old Testament. And it's streaming worldwide today. You can get instant access in 4K, and we'll also send you a DVD for a gift of any dollar amount. What we're going to do with your contribution is produce even more in this series. So Oracles of God is not just one, it's 4 films. And you're part of that with your contribution. So if you'd like to participate in it, get instant streaming access, call us. 1-800-700-7000, or you can go to cbn.com/oracles of God. You can also text the word oracles to 80888. And Erin, thank you very much. And you're leaving for Israel soon to go do the next film. So.
The New Testament. They're going to get a good dose of the gospel over there.
All right. That's good. We'll be back with more of the 700 Club right after this.